much of that down to TN in the jungle. Let's take a look at the draft, though. It's LGD on the red side this time around. I'm curious what top esports will change, but still choosing to ban that Kalista. Interesting.
Yeah, not wanting to give that one over. We kind of highlighted one of the differences in LGD's roster swaps is that Eric definitely leaning heavier into pretty much playing only these like hyper carries, to where Asum able to do both and very confident in doing both. The one swap up for the side of TS could be not having to ban that Lucian and potentially open themselves up for something else. My only thing is, like, what do you really need to ban? I mean, I guess you could look to ban jungle. You could look to take away maybe something like a Viego or a Wukong, and then like position yourself on 2-3 to get one of the other ones. If LGD, maybe have to look to answer like mid or bot, if your first pick would be like a Taliyah or an Aphelios. But definitely going to be interesting to see is LeBlanc coming through, and I didn't even notice that we had a missed ban on, ban number 2 for LGD.
Yeah, kind of a weird one. I wonder if we'll get a message from production any second and tell us what happened there, or if that was just a missed ban from LGD. That would be, not ideal for LGD. The Taliyah taking off the board here. Silas open for Knight on blue side. That's game. Good job, top esports.
Hey.
Okay, so they don't go for it.
Yeah, they don't. So much they don't want the game, but Knight looking incredibly happy. I like what they did with that last ban as well. Banning the LeBlanc, which kind of signals to Taliyah, forcing LGD to ban that, and then giving yourself the kind of priority choice of the other two like high priority mid laners left open. Now for LGD, I mean, we still have the Zeri, which we didn't see come across in game 1. You hit on that it has been nerfed, kind of like small nerfs to her damage across the board with the uncharged auto, and then some of the bonus damage you get from when you cast your ult. But team's not wanting to go for it, and Asum throwing down the gauntlet, picking up the Draven against Mr. Draven himself.
This is gonna be something special right here. Asum, as you say, the gauntlet has been placed down, and I want to see what JackeyLove takes to answer that play in the bottom side. See, hand on the chest, looking a little pressed there. JackeyLove knows he's going to be in for an aggressive laning phase. I'm curious if they'll still go for a defensive lane. You could still pick like a Yuumi Sivir kind of thing and just try and clear waves, but perhaps they just leave the AD carry picks and see what gets back.
So they are going to do that, right? I feel like if you're TS, especially going up against a Draven lane, you feel like, okay, well, they're going to be looking to be aggressive. They're going to look to have prio. It could be tough to find like bot lanes that can actually go toe-to-toe in the 2v2. And if you're just going to end up having to play the longer range, you're fine sitting back and farming. Jinx is still open. Aphelios is still open. We know JackeyLove has loved the Ezreal. And like all of these things could be tough if Draven gets going, but you're fine as long as you can get a strong top side and play out through there. So TS have leaned into that. LGD looking to get the Gnar before it is banned out. Opens up for TS to potentially ban out junglers, but no. Instead, putting more respect onto that Draven lane. They don't really care about whether it's Viego or Vi going over to the side of LGD.
Yeah, trying to remove some of that stuff. Certainly, I mean, I will say, LGD, from their perspective, sticking to the law right now. Senna and Lucian, if you're going to ban one, ban the other. Let them be banned together. That's the most important thing. We mentioned the Graves from Quay. I think I've just been baited, though. I don't think they're going to go for the Graves, are they?
No. Viego, I think, is a standout. Xin Zhao's another one who I think would be pretty solid into what TS have. And the fact that like having more frontline would be quite nice. But just kind of knowing how these junglers have shaked out, the Viego is what is locked in. And now we get to find out for TS, where do they go? Aphelios, Jinx being the two that we've highlighted. This is a JackeyLove pocket pick, and I'm only hitting on it because I actually wouldn't be surprised to see JackeyLove lock it in. But, much. We've been baited too many times. He's done it before. Kind of depressed.
Yeah, not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. It's just one of those days. Just one of those days, mate. We've been baited multiple times in this draft. It's going to be the Zeri and Braum down at the bottom side. Braum, always very good into the Draven. Oh, do it. Do it, Jin Zhao. Lock in the pure aggro lane. Make my day. Let's see a 2v2 to remember from LGD. This is your last game. If you lose this, you're out of playoffs contention. Show me the pike. Show me the aggression alongside the Draven. And show me that you want to win this lane.
LGD are definitely like, hey, if we're gonna officially go out, we're gonna do it in style. Like you're saying, they're looking for the aggression, not only in that 2v2, but obviously Pyke bringing the ability to move around the map so quickly, potentially link up with Haichao, finding an advantage through mid-jungle support, then bring it back down to Draven. Point is for LGD, right, it's all about that early game, getting the snowball going, because if we get to mid late, I feel like TS in a pretty solid position. The amount of frontline they have the peel coming out from the Braum. We know, even with some like subtle nerfs, pretty much every patch coming out for the Zarya, that her damage is still quite insane, especially if you are landing that W. But ball will be in LGD's court. Can TS manage to survive? We will find out soon.
We certainly will. I think I know the answer already, and it doesn't really involve compositions. But that's a whole different story, because LGD, look, win or lose, I don't really care at this point. Look at this comp they're bringing to the table. Haichao's taking Silas into Knight. Asum is taking Draven into Jackie Love, and then Jin Zhao locks in the Pyke as well. Like, if you're gonna go out of playoffs contention, you might as well go out in style. I love this from LGD. All or nothing for them, and all or nothing in the draft as well. I'm hyped. I'm ready to see what happens in Game 2.
Yeah, and, you know, I'm excited for the drafts. I like the Draven. The Pyke's exciting. I will say, though, bringing, like, Pyke into a Braum lane is something that, like, matchup-wise, I'm not a huge fan of. You're going to hook the Braum. He actually could then just out-trade you. Always has the W to get away. And TS's side overall, very tanky. So, Jin Zhao will have to be on point with these Qs to actually be able to find Jackie Love and manage for LGD to be able to get these kills and find value in the pick.
It's worth mentioning as well, for people that don't know how the interactions work with Pyke and Braum, Pyke's dash, the stun that comes across, does count as a projectile. So Mark can block that in the same way that Braum can block Ornzul, right? So the stun can be denied by Mark on the rest of the team. Obviously, Mark will still be stunned if he does block it with the Unbreakable, but can protect Jackie Love from the stun on the dash from Jin Zhao. So we'll see if any of those kinds of interactions do come out throughout the laning phase. So far, though, junglers looking to start on opposite sides of the map.
Yeah, we can see right now, Quay, when you pat down towards the bot side, I think makes a lot of sense when you've drafted such a volatile lane that needs to get ahead. And for TS, the fact that they picked up their whole top side, their first 3 picks, they're playing around this top side. They have a Braum down in bot. They feel comfortable that Jackie Love and Mark can be able to manage. You know, once you get back around the spot side, around that like 4.5 minute mark, you can look to cover and make sure it doesn't go down too badly. But I'd love to see TN playing a lot, especially around Knight this game, linking up in that mid jungle, and then looking to be a nuisance in Quay's face, set him behind, and then leave it so, hey, LGD, your laners have to be able to find these advantages on their own.
Top Esports going for some trades onto Jin Zhao, hooking them. But crucially, buying a lot of space for Asum to just clear this wave. And it means that LGD are likely to hit level 2 first. And it means that Top Esports won't necessarily be able to trade for a couple of minutes here. They probably should just be forced away from the wave. There should be much they can do about it. At the end of this, however, they are about to hit level 2 as well. There's a hook onto Jackie Love. Mark trying to protect here. The level 2 now hit on both sides. Unbreakable comes out. Still a very positive trade for LGD. Jackie Love's flash now burnt.
I mean, flash for flash, LGD are going to be feeling good about that one. Jackie Love's definitely a lot more valuable than Jin Zhao's. And I just love to see the onus coming out from LGD's bot lane to try to force these aggressive trades through. At the end of the day, though, I mean, we expected Jackie Love and Mark to be feeling the heat, feeling the pressure. As long as they don't fall too far behind in terms of CS, they will be doing just fine. But this is even more incentive to bring Quay, to bring Haichao down to the spot lane.
Certainly is. And see, Quay is on his blue buff. He's making his way in that direction. The one issue for Quay is that, obviously, the wave is extremely pushed right now towards Top Esports. So it's difficult to make a gank happen unless it's a dive, which, you know, not ideal. I don't know if you want to be diving this early on into the game against a Braum. Braum can be very difficult to pull a dive off on. Jackie Love takes another chunk, though. Asum answered slightly, but Jackie Love, I don't think those are trades that you should be taking. Going in for extra autos against the Draven. Never going to be fun here. Another hook from Jin Zhao, but blocked by a minion.
And we can see Quay coming down for the dive, because they could look for it, but you need to find those heavy trades. Could be hard when you're an all-in bot lane like the one that LGD has. So the fact that Jin Zhao landed the Bone Skewer to make sure the heavy trade comes through is huge.
Oh, and look at this. Top Esports, full respect, just legging it from the play. Mark might have to sacrifice himself. Will walk away. Doesn't even actually have to use flash at the end. So the dive doesn't come through. JackeyLove and Mark do survive, but crucially, losing a ton of CS on the bottom side. Top Esports tried to answer on the top side, but HiChao pops the teleport to deny.
So we have a bit of a trade coming out, right? For the side of LGD, what they were able to do was deny farm on a JackeyLove and at least find Asum a bit of an advantage. Gonna get a base off and at least have superior items coming into lane. But for TS, able to get the TP out of HiChao, so potentially won't be able to cover the same repeat play coming through, or won't be able to look to cover or enable the rest of his team. So I like what Top Esports were able to do, acknowledging the state of the bot lane matchup coming in and really looking to capitalize elsewhere.
Absolutely. Jinchao, though, he's the one that wants to capitalize now. Moving up towards that top side. Wayward could be in a little bit of trouble, and he's just used the Shroud. He's just used that Hallowed Mist. So Wayward, his W on cooldown. Jinchao in the area, but looks like Jinchao deciding better of the play. Moving down towards the rest of his team. Will be spotted on that ward. So now, Top Esports, full information of the fact that Asum is alone in the bottom side. They'll be able to just push this wave in.
TS now having a lot of breathing room. TN even back up towards that top side if he did want to try and set up any kind of repeat play. And, I mean, one of the things about this matchup coming in, right, we said the ball's in LGD's court. TS actually don't really need to do that much because they do have a strong mid-game coming through. So we need to see these plays from Jinchao actually be able to pay off.
Need to see LGD finding an early advantage. Game number one, we saw actually a relatively quiet early game. It was sort of the mid game that Top Esports really came alive. But LGD can't really afford for that to happen again. They can't afford to go into that mid game on even footing. Fairness forced away on the top side. Wayward will get all the time he wants. Look at the CS difference already. 15 in favor of Wayward. And that's only going to get worse with Tian influencing this matchup. A plate for Wayward as well. He'll be able to turn that into 2 if he likes. I mean, it's a tough situation for Fairness to be in. At least he has TP to get to this wave, get some of the CS, but he's 20 down currently.
I think the biggest thing for LGD is the fact that they weren't in a position to cross map, right? They were actually hovering up towards top side to potentially try and match the play. They have made their way down to bot now, but you can see on the minimap, it's given Knight time to respond. Tien still decently far away, and actually looks like he's just gonna not come at all and just opt into his wolves, but gives time for more members of TS to be able to look to cover. So overall, kind of just net positive for the side of TS. JackeyLove and Mark not even really zoned off the wave.
Nope, able to move back over, clear a lot of it up. Still 10 CS down, it's still a lead in the bottom side for Asum and Jinchao. Don't want to take that away from them, but like you say, comparatively to what's happening in the top side, it does feel like a bigger lead in favor of Top Esports. However, Quay moving into the jungle. Tien alone here. HiChao has moved over as well, but Knight on his way. We could have a 2v2 here. Top Esports bottom lane moving over quicker. Tien should be able to grab that red buff, but JackeyLove now caught, dashes over the wall, uses the laser, trying to get damage over, but Asum flashes after JackeyLove, looking for the cash-in, and LGD come alive in the early game. Quay flashing forwards, HiChao there to follow up. Knight has to Spirit Rush to survive the play. Quay with the Unbreakable means that the rest of Top Esports cannot follow up.
Just great play overall coming out from the side of LGD, pincering TES in so they have nowhere to go. Willing to liberally use those flashes, so even if members like JackeyLove can dash over wall or Mark can flash away, they're still guaranteeing that those kills go down. Blood straight into the replay, and again, they got pincered in. LGD were able to move first from mid-jungle. Their bot lane comes through, and we can see Bromlock down. He's going to be able to fall once HiChao picks it up. And then I love Jinchao flashing over, getting that E off onto JackeyLove to make sure that one follows through. And then Quay knowing he still has that dash available, we can keep looking for these aggressive movements.
Yeah, Quay using that Unbreakable crucially, stopping Knight being able to get any significant damage returned. I feel like there maybe could have been a return kill from Knight if it wasn't for the fact that Quay was essentially playing Braum during the play. Now Top Esports considering a dive onto Asum. He's got an Essence Reaver. This is a Draven. Mark blocks the Whirling Death though. And now with the stun on the tower, JackeyLove isn't here just yet. This is dangerous. Mark goes down. Asum gets away with a kill.
Asum getting a kill. LGD picking up Rift Herald. Honestly getting more than they should have, but LGD might actually be able to finagle this early game into a strong mid game and keep their hopes alive. Great to see the punish coming out from them, and now where do they go with this Herald? You would assume it should be down towards that bottom lane and keep all inning on your Draven. We can see now Quay keeping up the aggression towards the top side.
Tien trying to get the blue buff. Will be able to grab it. Jinzhao can't go for the 1v1, and he is not happy about that one. The little Addy emote coming on out. The reset from Tien here. Jackie Love dashes out to safety. Avoids the stand aside there. So I feel like we need to kind of take stock of the game. LGD, we said they needed to be aggressive, and they have been. Asum with a crucial play on the bottom side, maintaining this almost 2,000 gold lead for LGD.
Just look at the item difference. I mean, that Essence Reaver compared to Noon Quiver and then the Crit Cloak coming out on the other side, Asum just going to be hitting like a truck. And now for LGD, I think the win condition is just obvious. I feel like you just keep hammering down on the spot lane. The Herald definitely should be used to just guarantee more gold onto Asum, and then set up for these 5v5s to be taken strong. Fairness doing fine, just kind of surviving up in topside. Doesn't really matter that he's down. He'll be able to serve as a front line once he hits that Mega Gnar. And just Haichao and Quay need to keep their foot on that gas pedal and keep letting Asum do what he needs to do. So I like what Jinzhao's doing right now. Keep pathing towards mid when you're coming out from resets. Opens up potential for Haichao to look to be aggressive and set up picks onto Knight, which could then be used to get numbers advantage down towards that bottom lane.
Tien moving down, trying to get some vision on the bottom side of the map here with the Scuttle Crab. Jinzhao moving over, but it'll be too late to contest on the Crab. Look for Tien anyway, but just a bit of damage there. Tien has to back away. Needs to move away from this one. Nice little clear on the ward. Control ward dropped a little too late, actually. Wasn't even needed as Tien got the auto reset here. Top Esports grouping up. They really want to go for this Drake, but Haichao on the top side of the play. I feel like LGD could definitely contest.
LGD are in a good spot. TES will get back to lanes first. We can see Knight already there. And, I mean, once they push these out, right, they'll be able to get back into River and try to contest some more control of the vision that it looks like LGD are reasserting right now. But Tien actually looking for a bit of a play himself. I believe he was spotted on that ward that we can see members like Mark and Jack already walking over.
I think he went straight through River here. And Tien goes in onto Asum immediately. Looking for the knockups here. Looking for the damage. Asum will fall. And Top Esports turning one kill into maybe more with an Ignite down. A double kill for Jackie Love. And the big lead for LGD might have just gone into the toilet.
And you called it, Munch. I guess Tien coming from River wasn't spotted out on that ward. So LGD's bot lane not having the knowledge. And then Jinzhao not able to escape. Haichao not really going to be able to find too much back in terms of getting an advantage somewhere else. But TS not going to let LGD just run home through the spot lane. Getting a counterpunch of their own. And now look, Immortal Shield Bow picked up for Jackie Love. Will have a better time surviving in this matchup. And even Wayward coming back to lane with that Mythic. So Top Esports hitting some crucial power spikes. We're going to go to the replay, right? But it feels like the critical thing here was Tien finding his way into that brush, not getting spotted on any wards, gets the knockup to come through, so Asum will go down. And then, I mean, Braum passive, yep, comes on through, and that's why Jackie Love able to pick up the second kill.
Man, Jackie Love doing a lot of damage already, just on the shield bow and the boots, but thanks to that ultimate, able to do huge damage. Will just be the plates taken by Quay. I don't think Asum got any credit for those ones, but Herald still used. There's now a play on the bottom side. Tien in trouble here, CC'd up. They can't quite finish the kill. Jinzhao, wall. Not going to go for the ultimate. Jackie Love just runs at him. Not afraid in the slightest.
I'm surprised that LGD weren't more willing to pull the trigger, instead just wanting to try to enable LGD to get the spot lane turret first. With how much time they're buying, Asum's going to be able to do it.
Yeah, tower taken. Asum with a massive influx of gold. That's the first tower of the game. All of the local gold given over to Draven as well. And remember, plates were still active. So 600 plus gold there into Asum's pocket. Very nice for LGD as they try and maintain control. Oh, Fairness is in trouble. Needlework comes on out. One more hit would do the trick with the flash from Fairness. He will survive, but again, Summoner's burnt.
And now he's going to get a lot of alone time with this turret. Fairness is going to stick around, but I don't think Wayward needs to feel all too worried. Looks like he will show respect for the fact that backs have come out from the bottom lane. So at least expecting the fact that Jinzhao can be able to get here, gets his own vision, now knows he can look for these aggressive plays and try to get this lane pushing once again.
Fairness does have TP, so you can anticipate maybe Fairness will just go for the reset here. and return to that lane once more. You can see, though, 2 plates remaining on that top side. That wasn't Herald interference. That is just Wayward dominating that lane. You can see a 30 CS lead up on the top side. The 3 plates as well. Now, 9TN moving on over. They really want to find a pick onto Fairness. He will spot TN here in the jungle. The Krug's trying to be taken by the LGD top laner. He knew he couldn't walk up there. And LGD will answer with a Drake on the bottom side.
Yeah, we can see teams cross-mapping once again, right? Top Esports giving 4 members towards this top half of the map with Jackie Love covering in mid lane to make sure they can get this, send Wayward down to bot side. And LGD going to take advantage of it. They have a nice vision line in the enemy jungle like we can see. So they're going to be able to keep up a lot of pressure in mid and try to rotate between mid and bot to be able to find these kills. But with Rift Herald coming up, it'd be nice to see Haichao start moving up, getting your vision around top side, and making sure you can look to contest the second Herald while you're still strong.
TN might have gone too far on this one. Needs to use the clone effectively here, but actually not leaving. He just goes in for the knockups instead. TN using that clone to burn cooldowns on the side of LGD. Now on towards this red buff. Cyclone has been used. This does make the play a little dicey, and I think Top Esports realizing, oh no, Mark, he's been abandoned. He's okay. He walks away. I thought he was going to be doomed there.
Mark at least has flash, but TS showing the respect because Wayward's still pushing down in bottom lane. He doesn't have TP up, so it looks like, once again, Top Esports might just opt into looking for a bit of a cross match, saying, hey, you have the Rift Herald, Gwen will be able to take the straight up bot side. Not going to be able to give too many more resources there, because even if they start bringing more members down, LGD still have their vision line around that bottom half of the map. But Wayward will be able to get this uncontested.
Oh, but TN wants to contest the Herald on the top side here. Big numbers advantage for LGD. I think TN finally realizing that that is not a play he can make. But crucially, Top Esports essentially just saying, look, you can have the Herald, we'll just take a tower. That's exactly what you're going to get out of a Herald anyway. We're just going to do it proactive.
TS right now sitting 1k gold up, so don't have to worry about too much about that gold, a gold lead being generated for the side of LGD off a Herald play, right? Like, maybe LGD can catch up and find a turret somewhere. We need to remember that second Herald was buffed, 75% more HP once it is dropped, so you should at least be able to confirm, you know, a charge coming through, even if you do mismanage where you place it, and then looking for momentum off that. But it feels like LGD have kind of slowed down a little bit since we've gotten to mid-game in terms of looking for direct confrontations, right? They've still been finding objectives and advantages through cross-mapping, but it'd be kind of nice to see Jin Zhao, Haichao, and Quay starting to link up and starting to find more picks with this pipe.
Over the wall, but he's spotted. There's a ward there. Jin Zhao spamming some emotes as well. They know what's going on. Everybody is clued in on the play as the spam comes out on either side. I feel like we've got a little bit of quiet time ahead of us here with no objectives coming up for the next couple of minutes here. Top Esports still posturing. I feel like all game we're going to see posturing, though, because it's a Pike and a Draven on the side of LGD. Like, if you're not posturing, you're not trying to win the game.
Yeah, they're always looking for opportunities to come through, and TS very conscious of that, constantly keeping TN around his bot lane duo. Oh no, are we just gonna hit a world of ping-ponging waves munch? Are we gonna ping-pong waves?
We may. Top Esports moving to the top side, but they decide against it. We're going back to the ping-pong. I want to bring something up then, if we've got to come. And that's Jackie Love's pentakill record. Now, in competitive play, Jackie Love, for a very, very long time, only had one pentakill. It was in regional finals back in 2019. He got that versus JDG on his Kai'Sa. But then, for a very, very long time, Jackie Love just basically didn't get pentakills until a couple of weeks ago, where he got his pentakill against TT on his Jinx. Since then, he's now got another one. Literally, in the last series, the last game of this series, managed to get his third penta of his career. 2/3 of his pentas across his entire career have been in the last 2 weeks of gameplay.
Jackie Love is getting pissed off that Gal is becoming the pentakill prince and is wanting to take that title for himself. Still has a bit of ways to go. Is Knight finding a nice trade onto Quay, but they have Rift Herald, and they're actually surprisingly not going to drop it. You look at that in his inventory, they don't have much time left on that Herald.
No, they absolutely do not, as they need to be a bit proactive on that one. I just want to quickly continue talking about pentakills. Photic actually had, in 2020, the same amount of pentakills as Jackie Love. when he was replaced by Jackulov. Photic played against JDG, got while he was on top esports. Remember, Photic used to be on top esports. He got a pentakill before Jackulov joined top esports, and now he's had 3 this split. Oh, sorry, 3 this year on V5 as well. So, you know, Gala the Penta Prince, I feel like Photic's making a reasonable argument for himself as well. Herald finally used in the mid lane here. TN here to try and defend. Mark will be able to hit the eye. Finish that one off. Drake coming up in 10 seconds. Lyric, I think we might finally get the action that we were promised with this draft.
Yeah, TP coming out from Knight. Fearness has his TP as well. So maybe finally going to get that action to come through. I feel like TS should feel very confident in a straight-up 5v5, considering you have the Braum Wukong ability to lock so many people down, create so much space for Jackulov to go off. LGD, I'm looking at members like Haichao.
Oh, they're just going in. Haichao with a good Everfrost to stop the advancement from top esports. Wayward is on a flank. Look at him hiding by the blue buff. He can jump over the wall. Has needlework, has Ghost available. A big laser onto Quay. Top esports desperate for the fight. Can't find the knockup though, as Mark pulled into the fray, but backs away once more. A lot of ultimates used here for top esports. Even if they don't get a kill, will finish this Drake off. It's traded for a tower in the mid lane. The Whirling Death is a little optimistic, I'll admit, as Quay getting chased down here. The Lightning Clash used. Fearness about to turn Mega. Backs away into the brush.
Munch, how after all of this do we still end up with no more kills on the board? How does no one go down in this situation?
I just want blood. I just want to fight. LGD, come on, guys. This is your last chance. If you lose this, you're out of playoffs. You've drafted Draven and Pike, and yet you won't give us the fight. You won't give us the blood that we all desperately want to see. Knight will grab his blue buff. Top esports do get the Drake, though, crucially, and maintain their minuscule gold lead. I will say, we wanted to see LGD coming into the mid-game with a gold lead, which they haven't quite been able to do, but hey, going into the mid-game even against top esports, that's no small feat.
No, but at the same time, right, you know, I'm actually usually fine with, you know, having some slower LPL games. You don't need 100 kills in 15 minutes every game. But when I do see things like Pike Draven coming out, that's where not only the expectation, but also just what you need for the champions to be able to succeed, right, is keeping up that aggression early, finding that lead, or top esports kind of getting a free pass to allow champions like Zeri to get incredibly strong, to allow Mark to be able to do what he's going to do. But at least LGD have been trading up every time, right? Like, maybe not trading up, but trading. Losing Drake, but getting turret mid, finding some gold, and making sure that if a member of top esports oversteps, is nope, actually Fearness didn't even overstep. Yeah, Fearness just getting pretty much gold in that side.
TN may be the answer though, using the Cyclones, try and survive, and will have to flash away, but survive he does, and a tier 2 taken in the bottom side here. LGD, they get a tier 1 for themselves, but I don't think it's worth it. Yeah, Wayward's just keeping going. He's on an inhib tower. Aston being threatened in the mid lane as Knight was moving over as well. The reset's finally coming through for LGD. They've traded a tier 1 top lane tower for a tier 2 and an inhib tower in favor of top esports on the bottom side.
Top esports is going to have so much pressure now. It's going to be so hard for whoever on LGD opts into pushing out the bottom wave
Wayward's
to be able
got
to
a death cap. Wayward's got death cap second item. He just picked up a Blighting Crystal as well. My god, Wayward is terrifying.
Wayward is huge. I mean, even look at the CS, right? Sitting about 60, almost 60 CS up over Fearness on the opposite side. We're seeing the replay here. I mean, isn't all that far from his turret, right? But still, top esports committing the resources there when they see LGD up towards the top side. And this is going to be rough, right? We were already hitting on how for TS in 5v5s, you should feel very comfortable going against LGD's composition. Now with Gwen this huge, I mean, I don't know how anyone on the side of LGD could break through because they're pretty much all burst, not a ton of consistent DPS coming through.
At least for the time being, TN could be caught though on the top side once again. Spirit Rush out from Haichao here. The clone blocks away the Bone Skewer. Can TN escape, surviving as long as he can, but finally going down. Top esports don't want to let him go down unavenged though. Knight moving forward. Wayward here with the need of work, but can't quite finish it off. Jackulov's turn to move on in. They're taking it in turns to pepper down LGD in full retreat here. And they won't be able to turn and find anything, but top esports crucially do not answer the pick.
Right, LGD found the kill onto really the only engage coming out from the side of TS. Like, sure, Knight can Spirit Rush in, try and find a charm. It's only one member, but if that charm doesn't hit, it's just gone. You need the Wukong to be able to force fights onto LGD.
Wayward's on a ward here, caught by the phone skewer. Will be stunned up, and everyone just climbs on board. That's going to be a dead Gwen, and that's crucially a cash-in for Asum. We said we needed LGD to be proactive. Finally, they show us a little bit of that proactivity. Starting the Baron, but they decide better of the situation.
Yeah, thank God they back out. We also saw Knight use the TP, so they saw him back off. They know multiple members are coming. Almost everyone was half HP on the side of LGD, so I don't think that would be a good one, especially since TN does still have the Cyclone up because he died before the team was there and even got to use it. That is the most critical tool for the side of TES. Wayward will be up in time to contest the next Dragon as well, and now I'm curious to see if LGD opt to contest because they still have their ultimates up, but no flash on Asum, no flash on Quay. It feels like you can very much be punished, especially your Draven, if Tien or Knight can find a way to get on top of him with no flash.
Yeah, absolutely. If they can find the way to close the gap and punish him. And remember, having a Pyke, not exactly great for surviving. Not good for peel. Good for finding pigs. Oh my days, so is that laser, apparently. Jesus, that's some big damage. You see the cry and a boo-boo come out from Jin Zhao. I've been enjoying watching Jin Zhao this game. He's kind of matching Wayward in terms of emote game today.
Oh, yeah, and I mean, heck, we saw Mark compliment him, right? Mark's been having a stellar split. Like, a compliment coming from Mark, definitely no small feat, but TS, knowing they should be in the driver's seat now with that no flash on Draven, are going to force their way into River. LGD, I expect to just give this one up. You can already see things coming out towards topside, and oh, they're trying to pull TS over with the threat of Baron.
I like this. I like this a lot from the side of LGD, forcing top esports into a play. Tien the one to face check here as they move on in. Knight looking for a flank. Jin Zhao, the target, forced to flash away here, and he's gone. He's gone already. Jackie getting the damage out, and has some balls. Top esports, you step an inch too far, and they will destroy you.
Yeah, I mean, the standoff there coming out from LGD was a little too much. They're going to go straight onto the Baron. Quay is up, and Quay does have Smite on the table. This could be a steal.
It could be Quay trying to go for this one. It will be 50-50 if top esports commit. There we go. The Scry's Bloom onto Quay, forced out by Wayward. Baron taken by top esports. At least there's a dragon on the board for LGD, but it is very much a consolation prize here.
I'm just happy to see TS actually marking people on the other side of the Baron pit. It looked like they were just keep everyone in. It was going to be a 50-50. Like, sure, TS could still pull that through, but just send someone over the wall, make sure Quay can't be able to get in. And now with the gold lead that they could hopefully generate from this Baron, it could put them in a great spot. But we'll see here. I was surprised to see Tien going on to Jin Zhao. They're able to just burst him out outright, but Asum there, I am so, like, perplexed why he's walking forward. You can see where Viego is on the minimap, really no position where he's close to going down, and your support just died.
Yeah, Asum, you know, we call it Draven break, where you just want to throw axes at things. I respect it, you know, he wants to throw axes. Let the man throw axes. Unfortunately, not optimal axe throwing here, you know, Asum is going down. Top esports now can just pressure every single lane. Remember, they took an inhib tower not too long ago down in that bottom side, which means they can very easily shift over to that bottom lane and finish an inhib off. They're playing for a trap in the brush. Fierce, though, that sweeper saving his life. But crucially, the space bought now for them to push in that mid lane. They take the tier 2 tower. Mark pulled back in, but he'll be all right.
And it's one of those things, right, of like, sure, the Pyke pick is exciting, but also just picking Pyke into Braum, like, okay, you throw the hook, Braum blocks, and now realistically, what do? Even if you try to kill the Braum, it just takes so much time. It allows TS to get into a fight.
So there's Tien. They thought that was the clone, I'm pretty sure. He pressed S, and just took a bunch of damage after the CC, and they all backed away, but it wasn't even a clone. He actually just took the damage, I'm pretty sure. As the pressure continues. And top esports, the thing is, like, they obviously, if they can take an inhib tower here off the Baron, they will. They've still got a minute on that, but ultimately what they're buying with this Baron buff is just complete and utter map control. So when the Baron finishes off, they can reset and still have control of that map. It'll be LGD just trying to fight for some vision control of their own jungle, never mind future neutral objectives.
And when we look at TS's comp, right, very short range, like very brawl and melee heavy. It's very hard for them to brute force their way into top esports, into LGD's base. They need to pull LGD out. They need to try and find picks like they're doing, or force a team fight to be able to get in that base. So I like the amount of respect and patience they're showing, because if they did brute force their way in, would be a little bit of a gamble. LGD aren't all that behind in terms of gold or where the state of the game is. So, yeah, don't want to go for anything too risky to give them that chance back in.
Which, again, we've talked about it a lot this split, but that is the big difference between this top esports versus every other top esports we've seen for the last 3 years, right? Is the top esports that we know from 2020 and 2021, they would have made that gamble. They would have just flipped the game on trying to dive the base. Not anymore. This is a much smarter, much safer team than previous iterations of the roster. Jinjao taking some big damage. I mean, Jackulov, like you say, he's had time to scale up, and he is not missing these lasers.
No, Jackulov has been on point, and let's remember that top esports bot lane had it rough. LGD put a lot of focus on it. LGD were playing extremely aggressive. They fell behind early in terms of CS, but on making his way back and actually finding all this damage has been huge. You know much going forward. I'm kind of concerned if LGD don't really give a window. All TS can really do is wait for the next neutral to come up, right? Wait for the next Drake, play for that, wait for Baron, try to push more aggressively with it next time. Maybe play through 3 lanes instead of 2, as we did see them look for a 2-lane setup, pull more members apart. Then you could look for an aggressive dive maybe with the Wukong. But until then, I mean, LGD showing a lot of respect, not giving TS a pick over to try to force into the base.
Do you know what the play is for top esports? Use these control wards that they have at Wolves and just let the next mid-wave push out and just wait. See if anyone from LGD comes to farm and assumes that the recalls will come on through. And just look for the big play. Wayward going to Fearness here. Fearness has got to be a little careful on this one. He's a level down. Wayward has 3 items and needlework available. But you can see that Quay and Jinjao were moving on over. So Wayward respecting it for the time being. Drake coming up in 45 seconds, Lyric. And we've waited patiently. And as you say, that neutral will be the next point of contention.
Yeah, and kind of taking stock of what we can see in this fight, right? All summoners up across the board. We even have Guardian Angel now being picked up for Jackulov, who is the big damage dealer on the side of top esports, so that'll be useful. And just across the board, right? More defensive tools coming through. GA, 2 stopwatches now picked up, so TS can be able to survive the initial burst coming out from LGD, and that might be the difference maker, because you already hit on earlier that there really isn't any peel for the Draven coming through. So LGD kind of need to be the ones to force the fight, be the aggressors, take one member out right away, and then be able to just go full steam ahead from there.
Yeah, we already know that LGD are not going to contest this one, because we saw the Whirling Death there used by Asim just as a wave clear tool. The second he's blasting that out, just clear waves, you know that they're not going to be looking for a fight anytime soon. So LGD trying to use this time to buy some space on the top side of the map, getting some deep vision out there. Quay will be able to go for some wolves and things, but it is traded for his own bottom side jungle as well. So, you know, one of those neutral trades in terms of the jungle, but a very positive trade for top esports in terms of that Drake. And now the pressure comes out once more. You can see top esports playing in both jungles here. They're desperate to find some picks.
Top esports are trying, but I mean, LGD just not giving them that wiggle room. And this is what's really going to test TS's patience, right? Because with Baron coming up, I think it's an obvious play for TS. Start heading towards that Baron. Try and bring LGD out. If you get the Baron, though, that to me is where the real test comes in. If TS can create that window to look for the aggressive play, it feels like it would be on bot inhibitor, but I might not have to project that far forward because LGD finally coming out of the base, not wanting to give this over to top esports for free.
This is scary because we've got a Gwen that's on the flank right here, but it looks like Wayward moves back towards that bottom lane. What I wouldn't be too surprised to see is top esports try and threaten the side lane pressure, right? Fearness cannot 1v1 Wayward. Like, that's never happening again this game. So Wayward can put a lot of pressure on that open init. Remember, they took that tower earlier on. So the second Wayward is left alone on the bottom side, he will take a tower. And in the meantime, top esports can threaten the Baron. Whirling Death used just for vision here. 10k on the Baron, but it's TP out from Fearness here. Top esports 4v5. Still no TP from Wayward. There it is. Now the Gwen going to enter the fray. Charm flashed away from as here comes Jackulov stacking up on this Zeri. Everfrost goes wide. And again, LGD deny the play, but look where they are on the map. They're on the wrong side of the rift.
I feel like LGD are doing such a good job of dodging TES. TES are trying so hard to find a fight, but LGD aren't giving that opportunity.
And just go mid, surely.
Oh, they're going to wait for LGD to start this one up. We still have Cyclone on the board for TN, and he has Flash as well.
Oh, there it is. Flashes in for the Cyclone. Big damage out of the laser. And Top Esports start as they mean to go on in the fight. Finding one, finding two. And now turning onto the Baron. Quay is down. Fitness tries to face check, and his face is removed. Jin Zhao looks over the wall, but he's a little too late on this one, and it'll be a bonus kill into the pockets of Top Esports. Wayward should be the one to finish that one off, and my God, that was 3/4 of his health in a single snip. Top Esports, they were denied for so long in this game, but at the end of the day, Top Esports take what they want.
Man, I feel like we were watching a game of hide and seek. Like, Top Esports just could not find the engage on LGD for the past 15 minutes. They finally managed to do it. Flash, Cyclone, thank you so much. And now they're going to look for the end.
Yeah, it's like hide and seek, except Top Esports are the dude from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And the second you get found, it don't look pretty for LGD.
Oh, God.
The Nexus is bare. LGD desperately fighting for their lives, but that is it. Top Esports 13-1, a 13-win streak, and LGD now knocked out of playoff contention.
Yep. Goodbye to LGD. Again, we've known that they've been, out for a while, just waiting for that to be able to come through. But you can already see it seems like they're trying to angle for next year with some of the roster musical chairs that they have been playing. And for Top Esports, just coming in and meeting expectation. And when the expectation is so high, when the expectation is to dominate teams at this level of the standings like LGD, the fact that they can keep it up so consistently, the fact that they don't have those games like RNG or like JDG where they just drop a game and you're like, okay, guys, why are we doing this again? It does just fill you with a lot of confidence watching Top Esports.
Honestly, I still can't really believe it. I feel like we're going to get into playoffs and they just start doing crazy things again. It just doesn't compute in my brain. Top Esports and playing very seriously for a full series. It doesn't seem to line up for me, but well, it's happening. I'm going to have to start believing it because they're on a 13-win streak. And it's kind of insane. It's kind of insane to witness, but crucially, their next opponent's V5. That's where we'll really see that tested.
I feel like a lot of it probably, too, is I feel like a lot of these players probably have a chip on their shoulders, right? You look at, Knight and Jackie Love not really being able to, heck, not being able to get up to that main stage last year and, have a big performance. For TN, you got there and just not able to work out. Didn't work out in spring finals, didn't work out in summer finals. At Worlds, you imploded. Even looking at Mark, who... right, kind of just being all over the place on all these different rosters. Maybe this is the time you come together at the start of the year and hey, we got to get this done this year.
Remember as well that, Mark is a player that went to Worlds on LGD. Everyone thinks of Mark as, the new guy. He's been to Worlds. This guy has played internationally. And, it was on that roster that really nobody expected to make it to the World Championship. They managed to beat out IG, the one with Rookie and the Shy, to make it to Worlds.
They went 3-3 in groups, a respectable performance from a 4th seed.
Yeah, exactly. It was, Mark is certainly no slouch. I feel like he's been, kind of underrated coming onto this Top Esports roster. Because I certainly, when he joined Top Esports, my thought was still DMO Mark, and he is not that player anymore. Well, there have been years of experience since that roster.
It's so crazy thinking, right? Because initially on DMO and on Sino Dragon coming in, it's cool. Mark and Gala are super hype. Xiaopeng's super hype. And now we see where some of these players have gone. Obviously, Mark and Gala both kind of ending up on really successful teams. Xiaopeng as well, technically, right? Xiaopeng is still on Top Esports. Yeah. And, is still also a team now in a player who's on a team that is in first place. So it's kind of cool to see that way that DMO roster went, how it's kind of split up, and all these players have been able to keep finding success.
It's kind of funny as well how individually there's some really talented players on that roster, but as a 5-man it did not look pretty. It really did not. As we see the stats flashing up from this last game, obviously great game from Top Esports. Jackie Love massive damage. The man just wasn't missing a laser. This is what happens when you give Zerio, right? At the end of the day, Asim and Jin Zhao not quite able to make it happen on the Draven and the Pike. I will say though, look, this was your last game of being in playoffs contention. I like that they brought out some spicy picks and tried to make something exciting happen for their last hurrah, you know?
Oh, 100% right. At least they came in with like an idea of, hey, like, we're fighting for our lives. We're going to fight for our lives. We got to find advantages. We have to be the proactive ones. And we saw the signs of that early on, right? The way they were playing out the early game and like trying to set up their bot lane and like Jin Zhao's first flash in, kind of coming out of nowhere to find the hook. It was great to see. And I definitely feel like LGD have some interesting pieces to build for next year. I think especially looking at AD carry, right? Asim's had some good moments this split. He's had some moments where you looked at LGD and like, okay, they have someone who, if they can get to late game, if they have resources, can actually carry this team, which is something for a long time it felt like they lacked. They relied a lot on just like Shadow and Fearness constantly ganking that top side and just hard snowballing through like a top side lead, and the enemy team also not being a top team, right? It would be up against an RA or an Ultra Prime or another team in that level of standing. So hopefully they at least are making good strides towards next year to like more things that they can work on and build around.
And look, if Mark's story isn't enough of an example, there are so many players in the LPL who have been on these kinds of rosters that haven't looked good. That haven't. Do you know the best example? Anyone's Legend this year. Like that's a selection of players not dissimilar to the LGD roster, where there is some serious mechanical talent within some of the individuals there, but as a team, it's not working out. Next year, LGD could be that roster that makes the crazy run, that manages to find themselves up towards the top half of the standings and manages to find themselves going towards playoffs in a favorable position. We'll have to wait and see what the years hold for LGD, because it has been a little while since they made it to Worlds, but make it to Worlds they did. Let's take a look at our MVP as we round out our first series of the day, and it was a quick one as well. Top Esports 2-0ing in the end, and Tien getting MVP both times.
Great to see from Tien, because Tien before was kind of sitting right outside that upper echelon of MVP votes coming through. Now he's going to be tied in first, I believe. Sitting at 9. So now up there with Knight, with Kanavi, Doinby, 369. And heck, right, we're getting towards the end of the split, so we're going to have our MVP come out soon and just overall like our top 3 all-star teams. And I think Tien, like I said earlier in the day, is one of the leading candidates for this award.
Yeah, absolutely. He's been looking really, really good all through the year, all through the split at very least. Fantastic too. Just setting up the winning lanes, right? Not even necessarily a winning lane, but setting up a lane to become a winning lane in that bottom side. And consistently, as you said during the game, the hard engage tool for his team, and more than happy to put his life on the line to make that happen.
That one put a smile on my face. Right before that moment happened, we're like, hey, he's Flash, he's Cyclone, let's see it happen. You've been waiting for that moment your whole life, Tien. And by your whole life, I meant the previous 15 minutes of that game. The fact that he gave it to us, Munchables, he deserves 2 MVPs.
Yeah, he'd been waiting for that moment his whole 15 minutes. Kind of a crazy coming-of-age story there in the game on his Wukong. Good to see Tien grabbing himself an MVP there once again. And honestly, again, like as someone who has been a big fan of Top Esports for the last few years, it just brings a smile to my face to see the level at which this team is playing. When you think about the very start of the split, they lost that series to JDG. No one was sure what kind of performance they would have. They barely dropped a game since then. Like, very few series did they go to 3. Unbelievable split for Top Esports. We're going to head over to Wendy, though, who's standing by with Tien.
Hello everyone, welcome to interview, and now we have Tien from Top Esports with us. Congratulations on another 2-0 victory. And our first question, after today's game, you guys was on a 13-win streak. So what's the key for you guys to have such a good performance in summer? 那首先恭喜你们今天又是非常漂亮的2-0。那在拿下今天的比赛之后，你们已经来到了13连胜。所以说，你觉得可能队伍最近表现这么好的一个主要原因是什么呢？
我们前半段的赛程应该是比后半段要难不少的，然后我们现在的话就是比较偏向于巩固吧，然后看哪里可以再进步一点。然后我觉得我们最近的状态其实一直都挺不错的，就是打的感觉没有比之前打强队的时候差。
So I think based on our schedule, we have a rather tight schedule in the first half of the regular season. And after that is we have some time to do more practice, to try new stuffs, to try to find out which part that we can make some improvements on. And also, I think all the teammates, we have a very good momentum. We were able to have a rather good performance recently. And I think our level of performance has not been reduced in the second half of the regular season. And definitely we can see that. And especially in today, you were able to get 2 MVPs. So let's talk a bit more about your performance in game one. In game one, the opponent's team, they have chosen the Pantheon and Talia, this mid jungle. It feels like they can be quite aggressive with their ultimate from the early phase, but you were able to play a very active role with switching the jungle area and ganking a lot from the early game. So what's your focus in the early game? 那其实说到第一局比赛，对面是选出了一个潘森岩雀的中野组合，我们感觉他们可能会利用大招啊，来从前期就多做一些事情，但是你反而是从一开始，然后是交换野区也好，还是说从前期一直线上游走 gank 也好，感觉你是在前期一直在做事情，所以说你前期的思路是什么呢？
前期的话，因为我们一级比较弱，所以前面就战术性的放弃，然后我们下路就是也去把潘森找到了，然后他们就回归越塔，下路这部分做的把做的很好，然后后面的话就是6级之后这种找机会吧，然后等到对面6级之后，但是我们中野有主动权的话，就会比较好的。
So I think because we were not that strong in the level one, so I would like to just do some farmings, and after that we tended to find the position of the opponent's pantheon and try to protect our ball lane a bit. And our ball lane they really performed so good. And after level 6, we should be more careful about the opponent's mid jungle with the ultimate. And after that, we can just do some skirmishes. We can play more aggressively to seek more opportunities. So that's my early game strategy. And let's talk a bit more about game two. Game two went quite back and forth from the early game, but I want to talk a bit more about the last team fight around the Baron. You guys were able to have a very perfect hard engage. So how did you manage to find such a good angle to have the engage around that? 那其实说到第二局，前期是比较有来有回的，但是你们是最后一波大龙的团是决定胜负的一波团战，你是非常果断的冲上去开团，所以说当时怎么找到那波的机会和角度的呢？
当时我们先逼大龙，然后第一波打出了德莱文的闪现，然后后面的话就是他们又去接大龙，然后就我们会比较好开吧，然后就闪现开了。后面的团战的话，其实已经是我们比较好打的，对面也找不到太多的机会。
So in the first Baron team fight, we were able to force the opponent's Draven to use his flash, and after that, they tended to open the Baron. So it feels like it's a very good opportunity for us to make the hard engage, and for the team fight, we can just find a very good angle to make the engage to win the team fights after that. And definitely, you guys have shown us a very good teamwork. And in the new patch, due to the change of the drakes, it feels like the frequency of getting the drake has been reduced. And maybe normally we can see the jungler will get the first drake even after 10 minutes. So tell us more about how do you think this will influence you in the actual game as a jungler? 那其实来到新的版本嘛，在小龙上的变化也是比较明显的，感觉现在打野拿龙的频率也有变慢一些，而且是特别第一条龙可能很多时候10分钟左右才会开始打，所以说可能你觉得在这个新版本小龙的话，对于你作为一个打野会有怎样的影响呢？
小龙的话，就是小龙前期的血量变厚了，然后它的整体属性变高，就是它收益比较大，但是风险也变大。以前的话可以找机会偷掉，对面可能来不及，但是现在的话，有的英雄想要 solo 龙太难，所以感觉现在动小龙的话，一定要就是找好机会，不然的话很容易炸的。
In the new meta, the health of the Drake has been improved. Although getting the Drake can help the team get more leads, but this also means the risk of getting the Drake has been increased as well. And also for some jungler champions, it's very hard for them to get the Drake. And like previously, we can just still have some very good opportunity to steal the Drake, but for now it's very hard to do so. So we really need to find the very good angle, the very good opportunity to do something with the Drake. So thank you for the sharing and best of luck for the following matchups. 那再次恭喜你们，也希望接下来比赛都能加油。And back to you guys. Bye bye.
Thanks very much, Wendy. Yeah, interesting to hear from Tien that he feels like